Hello everyone, I'm Trey Tasty, and welcome to Manifest Tasty, where we're going to go through a story or period in history, find something that you may not eat regularly or ever, and eat it. So I'm sure that we'll find some tasty ones as we go through this show, but a lot of these old recipes can be a little bit plain. So after I make them, if it's a really plain one, then I'll find a way to make it a little bit more modern and a little bit better. So, starting off, I've been absolutely fascinated with this one story for over a decade because it is just so stupid. It sounds like a really dumb pain and gain type comedy movie where you're kind of rooting for a convicted murderer. In this case, there was this guy, it's in the 1950s, Donald Snyder. He killed a 9-year-old girl during a police standoff, and the state at the time was executing people with the electric chair. So he came up with the brilliant idea that he would get so fat that he couldn't fit in the chair, and I guess they'd have to acquit him or something. So not quite sure how he thought this was all gonna go down. Anyway, he was able to steal a whole bunch of food, he gained a lot of weight, he blew up on death row from about 150 pounds to over 300 pounds. And for his last meal, he asked for pork chops, eggs, and plenty of them. Reports differ on what happened next. One account is that the chair just fit him perfectly after all of that. Another one is that they had to rig up a bigger one to fit him. But either way, he rode the lightning, stay killed him. So let's start cooking some pork and eggs. So take your pan, preheat this a bit, throw in some oil, throw in some butter. These were very calorically rich breakfasts, so do not skimp on the fat here. Then after you start to see smoke, you can toss these pork chops in. I had these guys a little too frozen, so this is gonna take a while to cook these all through. And then to give them a little bit more flavor, gonna add some garlic and some rosemary. So the oil and the butter starts to pick up some of that flavor, transfer it to the pork chops. Then after a few minutes, you're gonna wanna wait till the bottom doesn't stick to the pan as much. And give those guys a flip. Make sure that it gets browned on both sides. It's been about 5 minutes. It says 3 minutes on one side, about 5 minutes on this side. Moved it to a lower heat, starting to smoke up the house a bit too much. They should also probably be a bit thinner pork chop. Breakfast pork chops tend to be a bit thinner than these. And just keep flipping them over and over so one side doesn't get too brown. You get the inside cooked through. Now they look about done. You can put the pork chops on the side, have them rest. Then we will fry up some eggs. Throw in a bit more butter. And after the butter is pretty much all melted, attempt to crack 2 eggs at once into the pan. Yeah, that worked out well. I don't think there's any shell in there. Try to crack it, and then just jam your fingers in there. Jam your fingers and just crush those eggs. A lot of people get very delicate with cracking their eggs. You can, a lot of times, just crush an entire egg in your hand. The egg will be fine. Usually there won't be shells in it, and if they are, they're usually pretty big and you can just fish them out. Just, you can straight up just death squeeze them. It's usually fine. I like my eggs over easy, so just do some gentle flips on these eggs. Slide them into the pan. There is so much butter in here. There's nothing sticking to that. You just give it a couple seconds and take these eggs out. We're just gonna toss some pork chops on here. This is some rustic plating. This is not fancy. I don't know how I'd feel about this for my last meal, but not a bad breakfast. There it is. There's some pork and eggs. We're gonna give this a taste. Yep, tastes like pork. Got some nice runny egg. Lot of buttery flavor on that. Not too much crispness. Let's move on to the fancier version. The original recipe did have some toast. I made some toast, forgot to put it in the video. It's my first video. Gonna make some mistakes. I thought we wanted to make it a little bit better. Let's do some croissants. These are some ready-to-bake croissants. You don't have to make your own. You just get some frozen ones, leave them out to rest, double in size. Then let's get more eggs going on. So we're gonna have an egg wash for this. So just some beaten eggs. Then we'll add some water. Then we'll beat it some more. Really beat it. Then we're gonna brush these croissants. That egg wash is gonna give them a nice golden exterior. It'll be perfect for getting more carbs in on your pork and eggs. And then we bake them. Bake them until they're golden and delicious. Now, one of the things that I didn't like about this original recipe is just cooking some pork chops really quickly in a skillet. It does tend to dry out. You can get much more accuracy on the internal temperature of your meat and make it juicier if you dry brine or put some seasoning on it beforehand and then cook it at a lower temperature, like smoking or barbecue. So that's what we're gonna do here. Gonna put together a spice mix. What do we have here? Here's some oregano, some garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, salt, pepper from a non-annoying pepper grinder. This one's pretty good, like it. And yeah, we're gonna mix this together and then coat our pork chop with it. Let it hang out on this wire rack so it doesn't, so the top and the bottom both have nice airflow going on. Just gonna throw it in a smoker. 225 is what I use for most smoking. This is a very clean smoker. You can see the bang up job I'm gonna do on this. Very, very sanitary and delicious. Probably should have been making more than just one pork chop, but it's a thick one. It's a thick boy. This has been cooking for, it was around 2 hours. Not much of a crust on it, but just poke it. Let's give it a temp reading. 152. That is definitely cooked enough. This is how I like to cut my garlic. Lop off the top of it, and then just slam it with a knife. Shake the camera while you do it. And it just comes off in one pull, which is not working right now, but yeah, close enough. You got some garlic, and one thing that this recipe was lacking was some vegetable. Sometimes you need some vegetable for balance. So gonna add some broccoli to it. The smoke is gonna give more flavor to the pork. The cooking it in the smoker at a lower temp and bring it up very slowly, it's gonna make it very tender. For the eggs, you'll see what I do with that later. But I thought that with just a breakfast of pork and eggs, the eggs aren't really integrated into it. It's kind of like you got two separate things. You got your pork, you got some eggs, but it's not really a cohesive dish. We're gonna do something about that. I mentioned about the eggs not really being too cohesive in this, but this one is, I believe it's a Jean-Georges recipe. These eggs are gonna come out almost like a sauce, so it's a very rich kind of scrambled egg. And It's going to help balance out some of the stronger flavors of the barbecued pork chop. We had some salt, some pepper, some milk, and we are going to whisk that together like crazy until there are no little white lumps or strands in there. And that looks pretty good. And then we're gonna cut up some garlic. Gonna cut up some onion. Do a mince on this. I like using the Chinese knife a lot of times just because I don't have to alternate between a bench scraper and a Western chef's knife. And these are diced. Then we're gonna blanch this broccoli. So this is some salted water and a really nice camera angle. So the broccoli is changed color. We're gonna take that out. Put that in a bowl for later. You got your eggs, and we're going to make these very, very creamy and almost liquidy. To make them richer, we will add a couple tablespoons of butter, and then over very low heat, just whisk the hell out of this. We have been whisking this for 10 minutes. And you can see it's getting a little thicker, but wow, this is exhausting. After about 15 minutes of low heat whisking, you can see it's thick enough that you can see the bottom, so we will cool this down by adding it back to the bowl that we originally mixed it in, and we do not want this to stop moving. We've been just whisking for 15 minutes. It is not time to give up now. And we are whisking. We are still whisking. We are whisking some more. And we'll call it a day. To add a little bit more flavor to this broccoli, we'll just cook this up in the wok. Some garlic, some onion, add some salt and pepper. So we got some color on the onion and garlic. We'll add in our broccoli. Add some wine. Put in a little bit of soy sauce. It's looking pretty good. Let's grab it, taste it. Delicious. This pork is rested. Cut into it. For presentation purposes, you can see how juicy that is. There's a bit of a pink smoke ring on that. Look at that. That is a gorgeous piece. Put some broccoli on. Have the stemmier pieces. Have the floret pieces separately. As far as a sauce, I have this cajeta barbecue sauce. It's got some goat milk in it. Here is the egg. It's gonna go right under that. It has a really nice saucy consistency. And then we'll put our pork chop on here. Add some pickled vegetables. I have some homemade purple kimchi made with purple cabbage. There's some julienne carrots in there too. Carrot kimchi. Let's try it out. Dip it in some egg. Eat it. Delicious. It's smoky. It has some sweetness from the rub. It's a little bit more sweetness from the barbecue sauce. Any amount of spice that's in the rub is really balanced by the creaminess of the egg. It is delicious. I had forgot about the toast the last time, but there's the croissant. Open that up. Give that a nice rip. Nice, delicious, flaky croissant. Good for sopping up egg. It's almost like a croissant egg sandwich, which is croissant's the best bread for egg sandwiches. No question about that. Hope you enjoyed watching the first episode of Manifest Tasty. If you did, please subscribe, If you didn't, also please subscribe. More subscribers will help me get the time to improve these videos. Promise. And I'll be coming back with more history, more dishes, and can really use your support to keep making every episode better than the last. So keep it tasty, friends. Until next time on Manifest Tasty.